Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, as my colleague earlier on said, we're changing gear and moving to our next discussion segment with yet another guest. It's World International Day for Children on the Streets. And of course, it's been commemorated worldwide since 2012 to recognize the humanity, dignity, and defiance of street-connected children in the face of unimaginable hardships. The event is usually celebrated on the 12th day of the month of April. Recall in 1989, the United Nations held a convention on the right of the child. According to the convention, some of the rights that all children in the world should have include the rights to safe, stable, loving, nurturing environment, healthcare and nutrition, clean water and electric power, equal opportunities, and to live in dignity and freedom. Sadly, the children living in the street situations are denied these rights. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, the number of out-of-school children has increased from 10.5 million to 18.5 million in 2022. This is quite disturbing and could pose a major threat to the economic development of the country if their situation is not nipped in the bud. It's imperative that you and I should begin to decide steps having a world that protects street-connected children. And of course, joining us to deliberate on this issue and of course to give us their perspective are the various guests we'll be introducing to you, one of which is joining us right here in the studio in the person of Fumilola Morakinyo. She is a Child and Family Development Officer at Child Lifeline. I hope I got that correctly.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we have joining us virtually is Titi Lokpe Adewusi, co-founder Nigeria Kids EdTech Company. And of course, we have Ibikun Oluwa Otesili, founder Housec Foundation. Sorry if I didn't get that name correctly pronounced. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on the show. Hello, can you hear us? All right, while we get to connect with these other ones on the virtual platform, let's start with you, our guest who is joining us right here in the studio. So what's your perspective, first of all, on this very important day for children who are living on the street?
Yeah, 12th of April, every year, 12th of April, International Day of Street Connected Children. It goes to show that even though these children are on the street, they are not forgotten. They are still remembered somehow, even though they're not in the best, they're not having the best of life as it should be as children, but still, they are not the forgotten ones. Still, somebody still cares to remember a day to celebrate them.
Okay, so when you say children who are on the street are not forgotten, you're going to explain that to us much later, because to a great extent, for most people, they feel these ones have been forgotten. In fact, these ones are totally disconnected from the reality, especially from the society that we all live in. You're going to discuss more on that, but give us, a more simplified understanding for someone who is watching there to understand what it means to refer to someone as a child who is living on the street.
Yeah. Okay, so a child is any individual below the age of 18, and that's why you'll be shocked to find that we've received children of 9 years old all the way from Ibadan who left home to stay at Oshodi Bridge, under the bridge, and they live there. And so it's most of the time is no fault of these children as a result of poverty, parents not being able to cater for their needs, and so they find a way out to just cater for themselves. And then some of them out of broken homes. Father leaves mother, mother leaves father, they remarry, and then the whole thing is a mess. And then these children are left to themselves. And then you have broken home, yes. And then you have poverty, all kinds of factors that just drive these children out of home back to the street. So they're actually there. You go to Mushin, for example, you go to Oshodi Bridge, you see so many of them. And they're not just children from Lagos State. you'll be shocked that we've gone to as far as Osun State, we've gone as far as Kwara to reunite children back to their families. And that's what we do at Child Lifeline. We take care of street-connected children. We have a day center at Bagada, and then we have a rehabilitation home at Ikorodu. So what we do is the children come in by themselves to our center at Bagada. They take a bath, they have breakfast, and then we take with them through basic numeracy and literacy classes. Then they go to have a nap. Afterwards, they wake up in the afternoon, have their lunch. We give them transport fare, and they go back to the street daily. That's what we do.
They
and
go
then,
back to the street?
Yes, to the street, because we don't have what it takes to keep them in that center.
I was about coming there. I was really about coming there. I want to know, I understand to a great extent your organization is actually carrying out their responsibility towards going out for all of these kids who have been disconnected, who are in the society, who are left and abandoned to nature, as it were, to play its course. But then I want to ask you, as an advocate of this very, very important day, is it just about bringing these kids back home? What are other things that you expose these kids to, aside from bringing them home, giving them meals, taking their birth? And of course, it pains my heart that these kids return back to the street.
Yeah.
What are other responsibilities that your organization should do to really make these kids feel that sense of being a human? Because of course, to a great extent, they don't feel like every other humans. I don't know if you share my sentiment.
I understand what you're saying.
So what are other responsibilities that you as an organization should do? We understand you have a constraint, so to speak, towards giving them a shelter, giving them a roof over their head. What other responsibilities that your organization should be able to do for these kids?
Okay, so I just talked about the day center, reception center at Bagada.
Yeah.
So what we do is when a child visits for like a week, while we give them a little time before having to counsel them is to build trust, because they're coming from an environment where they don't trust anybody. So you're coming in to say what happened at home, why are you on the street? You give them a little time for them to gain the trust, and then we begin to counsel them. From there, we get to know what their story is.
Let me put you on the pause mode. We'll be right back for you to continue your thoughts on this, because I have one more question and several others for you. Let's go on this short break now so we can have our guest come in to participate in this discussion. We'll be right back after this timeout.